some big news last week, not surprising news. I think it was obvious news if you were really tracking their trajectory. But the U.S. market has officially broke Purplebricks. Not brick by brick, though. Really just tore the whole thing down.
They kind of vacuumed it up. I mean,
although when I watched that show,
it wasn't even a brick. No, it wasn't. It was just it's gone.
What's the show with the little pigs?
Purple to black.
Brick house, the straw house.
Yeah, Three Little Pigs.
Twigs? No. What's the other one?
Sticks Hay.
Sticks Hay. I was just watching it with Stella.
You were? Wow, you participated. So you don't like barbecues, but you'll do the Three Little Pigs?
I'll do the Three Little Pigs if Stella wants to just, hang out, snuggle up. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And the brick house didn't seem to get blown down, but in this example,
it got sucked up.
Purplebricks
It's out.
Is out. So I thought what was interesting was you had some employees. I think these are anonymous employees. We'll link it up.
Yeah, there's no names. There's no names affiliated with any of these employees.
We're referring to the Inman article, How the U.S. Broke Purplebricks, Former Employees Sound Off. No names, but they were really, I'll summarize, but they were talking about the arrogance of Purplebricks to assume that what they pulled off in the UK market, they were going to be able to pull off here in America. If you're unfamiliar with Purplebricks, obviously it's a flat fee brokerage, so it's a discount broker. The UK model is completely different, right? Buyer agents don't really get paid unless a buyer is passionate about paying them for their services, and you have reduced commissions, and you do have a lot of these flat fee marketing, et cetera, models for sellers. And but the employees made it very clear that this is a different market. In fact, they tried to educate the management of Purplebricks in the U.S., but Purplebricks got no support from UK on what the employees were suggesting, and certainly it fell on deaf ears on the internal team.
Yeah, well, it sounded like what the U.S. team was doing was just running the UK's plan. I mean, it didn't even really. Well, I mean, I wasn't in the company, so I don't really know exactly what the going-ons were. But it's
one employee who was there all the way until May of 2019 from the beginning said they witnessed many missteps and lack of understanding of the business and U.S. market by the management team. They didn't take the time to understand how the deals are done, how the business is done here in America. A lot of agents have personal connections within their communities. They do a lot for their communities. I think they took that for granted for sure. But it seems like they had an arrogance that they would figure out anything on the fly. There's one employee that references an escrow company that they launched on the fly, and they thought they would just figure it out. That to me is interesting because you have other big companies that are starting things that I think a lot of people are perceiving on the fly, right?
Yeah.
Like changing the model quickly all the time. I would say, because a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, Zillow, talking about Zillow. I would say Zillow's doing quite the opposite. They're doing quite a bit of research, testing certain markets.
Well, they've been in the market so much longer. I mean, we're talking about a company that came to the U.S. only 2 years ago. Where they launched did they launch in San Francisco? They launched in California. And it sounds like even just from the get-go, they expanded to too many cities without really even doing any sort of testing or so.
That's where I think Zillow's different than these types of companies. And Zillow's, not playing the flat fee brokerage discount model. They're going at it a much different way, and they're doing a lot of testing. What I would say I thought of instantly when I really heard the news was Trey Laura. And Trey Laura, headquartered in Denver, I believe. They had a CEO who now has resigned or moved on or whatever they're calling it in December of 2018. And so there's been some management changes like we saw with Purplebricks. But this particular CEO, I remember his name, Joshua Hunt. I thought it was Jacob. Joshua Hunt. It was I heard him at Swanepoel Summit 2 years ago, and he was emphatic about their discount model, almost what some perceived in the audience. And I actually spoke with Joshua after his panel, and I liked him, and I liked his passion for his product, even though I don't love his product. I liked him. A lot of the people in the audience thought he was extremely arrogant. And it reminds me of the arrogance that we have now seen Purplebricks, fall to, right? They had this level of arrogance that—
You're calling this guy out? You're calling him out?
No, he's gone.
No, I mean, I'm being arrogant.
No. What I'm saying is there was a lot of people in because when you go to Swanepoel, it's a tight room.
Right.
You're talking of a few hundred people. And so there's conversation. What'd you think of the discussion around Trey Laura and Purplebricks and these type of companies? What did you think of what Gary Keller said, right? And there's all this analysis. And overwhelmingly, people thought that Joshua Hunt was arrogant. I happened to speak to him after, and I kind of liked him. Not to say that I liked the product.
Yeah.
But too many of these flat fee models are saying, I'm going to stand on, my, what is that called? The soapbox? I'm going to stand on my soapbox and say, this is what the consumer wants, because everybody's trying to go after the Amazon model. Everyone's trying to be Amazon.
So I wonder, though, on the flip side of that, if you're recruiting people to join your company, right? And obviously you're not just pulling it out of your ass or anything, but I mean, wouldn't you want a CEO? Wouldn't you want someone starting these companies? Maybe they're not arrogant.
No.
Maybe they have to stand on their soapbox.
I want them to have passion, and I want them to stand on their soapbox.
Because if I'm going to follow them, I want them to know that they believe in their mom. Not I'm a little concerned this week. I mean, then I'd be like, are you kidding me? I just ditched my other company and hopped on. I
want them to have the blind arrogance that we're going to succeed. But I think the arrogance that I'm talking about is the arrogance of what they believe the market actually wants. These companies believe that the overwhelming market wants an Amazon lower priced, put it into a box model, where I think we're finding that's quite the opposite when you really dig into these micro communities throughout the nation and you actually understand the market and get into the weeds of the market. And Joshua Hunt happens to be a former top real estate agent. Okay, so let's make that clear. He just has a differing opinion that I don't believe, certainly in the price points that I'm interested in, right? That consumer wants a discount, one size fits all.
Yeah.
People in America want and pay for great service. So when you can provide great service, they will pay a premium.
Well, I think the problem here also is that I think that a lot of consumers think that it's sort of like FSBOs, right? They think that they want the flat fee because it saves them money, but then they get ticked off because they're maybe not getting a phone call or they're not getting the service that they want. And it's like, well, you get what you pay for.
Right.
So I think that at first people probably really thought that they wanted the flat fee until they realized what they were then missing because they went that route.
And what you're not paying for in these services is consulting or high levels of service or concierge, or even great above and beyond separator marketing. Right. You're not getting that either.
Right.
And I do think there's a place for these discount models, but I think it's going to be similar to how it's always been, which is a very small percentage of the pool or a very low end price point, because people have to watch every single nickel there and maybe are willing to take on the part-time job of being their own agent.
Right. Yes.
All right. Racket, the Purplebricks is gone?
No, not a racket.
No. I think it's obvious.
Yeah.
So
on to the next.
It's a racket that they came here to begin with.
You think?